on 105.3 New Orleans, where we discuss anything and everything beyond the scope of normal. I'm Jenny Nicasio, along with my co-hosts, Sean Kelly, Jason I. Petro, and Trish Mo. I think that's the way you pronounced her name, Trish. I don't want to screw it up because I have a habit. We all know. Let's speak English. Okay. Remember to like us on YouTube, guys, because you got to share that because we don't have very many subscribers. So make sure you subscribe and share with your friends and family. How are you guys tonight?
Oh, finer than frog's hair.
Just
what does that mean? Okay, because I don't understand what that means. You're gonna have to help me.
There's somebody that's listening that'll get a giggle out of that.
Yes, he will.
Do frogs have hair? I don't know.
It's
Is
really
that a thing?
fine.
I don't know. I gotta ask him that question.
Well, I do have a friend that's a frog, and we're very close.
Oh, really?
Yes, I saw him the other day.
Is it Kermit?
And he's a big fat frog. He came back. He's my boyfriend. I'm just waiting for him to turn into a prince. Maybe you can help me out on that, Trish.
Did you kiss it?
Did you kiss him?
Right?
No,
Did you kiss him?
I was thinking about it. I was,
Try it. You might like it.
Yeah, I was okay. I'll try. Well, no, I want you guys all to know that I took a nap.
Amen.
I did too.
You did?
I did.
I need naps. I'm sorry. I feel rejuvenated. I don't know about you, Trish, but it makes me feel better.
Who's excited for Torture Tuesday?
Here, so
the naps are good.
The only thing, if you have to take a short nap, if you take anything more than I would say 45 minutes, and you're running into trouble because it feels like you feel like crap.
Not me.
I seen a meme the other day on Facebook. It said, anyone over 40 that's out past 9 o'clock 100% took a nap that day.
No, I'm serious.
It's so true.
It's so true. I mean, I don't know how we used to do it where we would stay out. I don't know how I did that. It's like when you'd just get up in the morning and you'd go out, you never come home until wee hours of the night. It's like, how did you do that? When you were doing other stuff that you weren't supposed to be doing. So I really don't know how that happened. Yeah. But I hope you guys had a good weekend.
10 years ago.
Hey, thanks a lot. 7 years ago. I'm not that old.
Oh my God. My weekend was good.
Taylor King, are you ghost hunters?
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Well, I think we all are now. Trish is going to have to go. Well, she's going to have to fly over here, I guess.
This is the first time to our show. Well, thanks for coming on to check us out.
Yes.
Trish, how would you like to be an honorary Pittsburgh Paranormal Society investigator from Kansas?
That would be amazing.
Kansas,
You're in. You're in. You're in.
So it's funny. Today, I was actually, I reached out to some of the local paranormal societies, and there's the various groups in my area, in the Topeka area, in the Northeast Kansas area, and none of them are doing anything right now. And I'm like, why? This is the best time. The veil is the thinnest in October, and there are so many places here that could be investigated. They're missing the opportunities. So
it is a good.
I'll just
October's the best. Yeah, October.
Jason, we're going to have to go out to Kansas and kick some butt out there, buddy.
Oh yes,
there you go.
Road trip.
Yeah, maybe
there's no place like home.
Those creepy monkeys that are that defying monkeys in Kansas. Was that the Wizard of Oz? Okay.
Yeah, it is.
All right. Well, we have a lot to talk about. We'll catch up towards the end. We'll take a little break, but we have a lot to talk about tonight with our guests, and it's going to be a little different show than our normal show. So, I hope you guys are in, the mood to talk about God, because this is what we're going to talk about. We have a special guest on the show. Tonight's guest is songwriter, musician, and the founder of Dave Turner's Ministries. Now, he's a minister, and he claims there is living proof of God's reality. Now, I know there's God. I know we all basically believe there's some kind of a God. But he's going to give us a talk on this subject because it's very near and dear to his heart. So one of the things he says happened, that there is in Israel, there's a living proof of it. So we're going to go ahead and bring him on, and we can get into a deep discussion about this. So welcome to Chasing Prophecy, Dave.
Hey, glad to be here. I didn't know he was having such a big party.
Hey, Dave, welcome.
Hey, the more the merrier, man. More the
Yeah,
merrier.
these are our co-hosts. We used to be just me, Sean, and then we branched out to Jason. Now we have Trish. But I was looking over your website, and I happen to be, I guess I am I'm the minority here because I am a Catholic. I'm a practicing Catholic, but I also believe in the paranormal because I read the Bible, and there's a lot of issues in the Bible that's paranormal, supernatural. So I feel that this is something that we can talk about on the show, and why people always ask me, how can you be a Catholic and be into this stuff? Because I believe that the supernatural, anything is beyond normal, is paranormal, and there's a lot of things in the Bible that were not normal. So so one thing, Dave, I wanted to ask you, one of the things I think that's happened in the religious community is that you see people who are brought up in a religious home and they're taught the stories of the Bible, okay? And they're never taught, and this happened to me, they're never taught any deeper philosophy or theology that is attached to it. So they kind of have this sort of child's view of God. You know, he's a big almighty God, and he has a big beard, and he's all powerful, and he has a rod. You know, he's going to scold you when you're not good. And I believe a lot of people still feel that way about God. They have that children's eye view of God and how they think about God as being that way. And they think that God is that old man in the sky watching our every move, controlling everything that we do, and he keeps a watchful eye. So what's in your opinion is the most reasonable proof of God? And have you found it to be the most convincing? What is the most convincing proof of his existence? Maybe you can shed some light on that.
Well, yeah, I hope I can, or hope God can help us and he can reveal things. But I didn't have that problem of growing up in church. I didn't ever attend church. I wasn't particularly interested. It looked pretty boring to me. And I knew a lot of people growing up. I had friends that went to church every week, but I didn't know what the Bible said you're supposed to do or not supposed to do, but I knew one thing: these people aren't serious about it, and because they were just as bad or worse than me. And so that kind of was confusing because I thought, well, what's up with this? You know, it's like these obviously these people are not serious about trying to follow whatever the Bible says, and so I thought, what are they doing this for? And I asked one of my best friends, I said, why do you go to church every week? And he brought me in his room. He had this cigar box full of medals. And if you go to church and you don't miss, you get a medal. So that was why he went. So anyway, when I was about 22 years old, which was about 48 and a half years ago. Oh, wow, I just gave away my age. Wow.
Holy smokes.
Well, yeah, really. Yeah, I'm a fossil, man. But if I don't want anybody straining their brain trying to figure out, doing the math. So I'm 70 years old. I'm just 70 and a half years old. But when I was about 22 years old, my lifestyle kind of caught up with me. I mean, I was a hardcore partier for like several years. From the time I was 15 on, I mean, it was all about, using a lot of alcohol, partying. I mean, when I was in high school, the drug culture had not swept into my Midwest town yet. I mean, California had been doing that for 10 years, but in Missouri, no, it wasn't there yet. So we just drank, and but unfortunately, I drank way too much. I wasn't one of these people like, okay, you drink and you get up there and you get feeling good, you get the good times going, and okay, so then you kind of just mellow out, plateau out. No, I had to just keep on drinking. I'm still
black out.
Yeah, we just drink till you can't move anymore. Huh?
I just get so drunk I couldn't hardly walk, but then I thought, wow, I'm a NASCAR driver. There's my car. I'm a NASCAR driver.
Oh, boy.
And I'd get in there and take off.
Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, I'd take off and I wouldn't be able to keep my car in the road. I mean, on this ditch, on that ditch. I mean, I'm really lucky I didn't completely wipe myself out or somebody else, but got 2 DWIs. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, wow.
16 years old, you bought a new car. Now you got to park it in the garage.
Oops.
But I got in trouble, got arrested, thrown in jail for public drunkenness, just everything, possession, busted for marijuana. But, then after a few years of that, the drug culture did sweep into my area, and I decided to become a full-blown hippie there. It was in the early 70s. So I let my hair grow down to my butt and beard and everything, and I grew my own pot out.
Oh, good.
I had farms.
Saving money. Good.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
I had my own farm, so I had plenty of places to
Damn.
I had plenty of places to plant pot, but I mostly planted it over on my neighbor's property.
That was smart.
That's a wise
Yeah,
choice.
somebody's gonna get busted.
Someone's going down.
It's better if they get busted than me.
Definitely.
What an innovative young entrepreneur.
But anyway, so we did the pot thing, and then the hallucinogenic drugs and all that. I've done about everything I can think of it. Through all of that, probably the worst and most dangerous thing I did was I started smoking tobacco when I was 15 years old.
Yeah, that's probably worse.
I smoked like a pack and a half a day, but if I got drunk, I'd smoke 2.5 packs. I mean, I'd chain smoke all night long. And that was probably more harmful to me than anything. But when I got to be 22 years old, I just kind of, I kind of had an awakening. But now I did not know it back then, but I know it now that it was the invisible hand of God that just came and helped me. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out why God really liked me. I think if I spent the rest of my life thinking about it, I'll never figure it out, because I wasn't, I was probably like the least likely person that anybody would ever think they would see hold a Bible in their hand or going to church, and so but the Bible says that God is love, and I believe he's just got love for everyone. But I believe he does, kind of channel his love towards certain people, and he reaches out and help them. And I was one of those people, fortunately. And God has got amazing, it's infinite great powers. I'm always thinking, when I think of the power, supernatural powers the Holy Spirit has, or God, I always think about the dreams he gave to the Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And the Bible tells us he gave Pharaoh 2 dreams, all in the same night. And the thing about it, they were different, but they meant the same thing. He had a dream of like these 7 really nice looking cows, fat, really nice, grazing by the river. And then 7 really ugly, scrawny cows came up and stood beside him, and they ate those good cows. And then, so he wakes up and like, whoa, I had a big dream. And so he goes back to sleep, and he dreams another dream that there was 7 ears of corn on his stalk. Nice, really nice, nice looking ears. But then 7 really dried and withered ears came up alongside those 7 good, and they consumed them. They took their place. So then Pharaoh wakes up, and he's like, the Bible says he was troubled in his spirit. And because I think Pharaoh, he's probably a pretty smart man. And he knew, hey, these dreams, they're different, but they seem to mean the same thing. So I think Pharaoh he kind of had this idea like, well, I think maybe like some kind of divine being must have planned these out, because, they're the same. And so anyway, these dreams are super important that God gave to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, because they were about something really super important that God was going to do in the very near future. And
but how do you know that dream was sent by God?
Well, okay, so it's kind of a long story, so I'll try to condense.
No.
There was a young Hebrew slave named Joseph, and he was the son of a man named Israel. And this Israel was Abraham's grandson, that God came to Abraham in the 12th chapter of Genesis, and he promised Abraham that he was going to make a great nation from his descendants. And he also promised that he was going to give a certain specific land to Abraham and his descendants, like forever. Like he was saying, this land will be your possession throughout all eternity. Well, okay, so The Bible tells us in chapter 35 of Genesis that the Almighty God came to Abraham's grandson, whose name was Jacob. But he came to Jacob and he said, I promise you, I'm going to do through your descendants what I promised your grandfather. I'm going to make a great nation from your sin. I'm going to give this land to you and to your offspring after you forever. And then God, at that same day, at that same time, God changed Jacob's name, Abraham's grandson's name, and he gave him the new name of Israel. He just said, basically, your name is Jacob. From now on, you're going to be called Israel. Well, this is the first time that the Bible actually reveals that the nation of Israel is this nation that God created from Abraham's descendants, like he promised he was going to do. Israel gets its name from Abraham's grandson, to whom he gave the name of Israel to. So God told Abraham in the beginning, said, your descendants will be held in a land where they're strangers for 400 years. And God said, at the end of that time, I'm going to deliver them and bring them out of this land where they're like in bondage. And I'm going to lead them and into this land that I promised to give you forever. So Joseph was one of Israel's sons. He was Abraham's great grandson. And God orchestrated, the Bible tells how God orchestrated a series of events. So Joseph was sold, he was taken down to the land of Egypt, and he was unfairly thrown into prison there. There's a lot of details. I mean, the Bible is real detailed, explicit about how all this happened. So we don't have time to talk about all that. But he was thrown into prison. Okay, so one night, God gave 2 dreams to 2 of Pharaoh's servants that happened to be in prison with Joseph. So Joseph interpreted those dreams. One of the men was restored to his service to Pharaoh. It was his cupbearer. So when Pharaoh had this dream, he tried to find everybody to tell him what these dreams meant. He couldn't find anybody. So finally, the guy that had been in prison with Joseph, that Joseph had interpreted his dream, stepped up to Pharaoh and said, hey, there's this young Hebrew slave in prison. And when me and your other servant was in prison, we had dreams, and he interpreted them then. And exactly what he said happened in 3 days' time. So Pharaoh's like, okay, bring him up, bring him up here. So Joseph was brought up out of prison and brought to stand before Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. And the Pharaoh said, well, hey, it says, I've heard it said that when you hear a dream, you can interpret the meaning of it. And Joseph said, no, I don't have that ability. But the God that I serve might reveal to Pharaoh what his dreams, or he will reveal. So Pharaoh told Joseph his dreams, and then Joseph revealed to Pharaoh exactly what his dreams meant. But that ability did not come from Joseph having any kind of ability or gift to do this. It came from Almighty God. So God he has supernatural power to reveal things to people, like he revealed to Joseph exactly what Pharaoh's dreams meant. And he told Pharaoh, he said, God has given you these dreams to show you what he's about ready to do. So that's kind of an answer, to answer your question. How do you know? The Bible tells that Joseph told Pharaoh this. Well, these dreams were about God controlling the forces of nature for 14 years in a row. He brought 7 good years where the crops all produced abundantly. And then he brought 7 bad years where the crops totally failed, people run out of food, and there was a great famine that spread through the whole world. Well, this is all what God orchestrated. It is all what he had previously all planned. And so this was God's way of making so that the family of Israel, like Joseph's brothers, had to come all the way from Israel, where they live now, all the way down to Egypt to get food. So, when Joseph had interpreted his dream, that Pharaoh's dreams, I mean, Pharaoh was so impressed by his ability to know these dreams and all this wisdom, he made Joseph like the governor of the whole land of Egypt.
Excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just thought, let's get to the nitty gritty. Okay, so for people who don't know this, but you claim that you have proof that there's an existence of God in Israel.
Right.
What is that? I mean, other than hearsay or what people think they know.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
You got to watch me. I get like chatty Cathy, just go on and on.
It's okay.
I haven't
We'll
even
stop-
taken
we'll
any, I
stop
haven't even
you.
taken any drugs or anything.
Oh, we'll stop you.
Sean will stop
so
you.
in the 12th chapter of Genesis, it tells how God, Almighty God, came and made this great promise to Abraham that he was going to make a great nation from his descendants. He was going to give this land to them as an everlasting possession. Well, okay, so the Bible proves in many ways that the nation of Israel that's in our world today, and the nation of Israel existed from about 1450 BC until 70 AD, about 70 years after Christ. The Romans came in, killed 500,000 people in the streets of Jerusalem, tore down their temple that King Herod had built, and the people had to run for their life. They run in all the different parts of the world. But they were a nation, established independent nation from about 1400, 1500 BC until 70 AD. Okay, so they became a nation. They were in exile for almost 1900 years, 1878 years. In 1948, they became a nation again. So we have the nation of Israel living today in this promised land. Okay, so the Bible proves in many irrefutable ways that the nation of Israel is the nation that God actually did create from Abraham's descendants like he promised. And one of the ways is what I just told you a while ago, is that God came and changed Abraham's grandson, and changed his name and gave him the new name of Israel. Okay, so this is where the nation of Israel gets its name. When the nation of Israel moved into the land of Egypt, God sent this drought or famine into the world. They had to come down to Egypt to get food. So Joseph had kind of saved the day, saved everyone's life. So Pharaoh said, okay, yeah, but bring your family on down. You want to bring them down? Take care. Good. You saved all of our life. So Joseph brought all of his family. There was 70 people in the family of Israel. They moved down into the land of Egypt. God kept them there for 400 years. And during that time, he multiplied them. I mean, the Bible tells the names of Israel's 12 sons. It even tells the names of his son's sons. There were 70 people. It gives their name, each person's name. So they stayed in Egypt for 400 years, and during that time, God multiplied the family of Israel that moved. When they moved down, there were 70 people, and he made a nation out of the nation of Israel, up to like 2 million people. Okay, so that's the people that Moses led out of the land of Egypt. I mean, I know you've seen the 10 Commandments, the movie with Charlton Heston, right? And what is portrayed in that movie, all these miracles that the Almighty God worked, the reason this happened was God was leading his people, the nation of Israel, out of the land of Egypt. He delivered them by sending these devastating plagues against the land of Egypt. Finally, Pharaoh said, okay, I give up. You can go. So Moses led them out of Egypt. They left Egypt. They went over to the Red Sea. They camped there. And maybe you've heard the Bible story about how there's no way for them to escape. And here come the Egyptians after them with chariots and horses. They have them trapped in. God parted the waters of the Red Sea, just pushed the waters back. So if you want that's paranormal right there.
Hey, Dave, I have a question.
Everything's
actually.
Paranormal there. But what I don't
hold on a second. I got a pretty important question. I need to know the answer.
I'm hearing voices, like multiple voices.
So, Dave, do you think that the Bible could be incomplete or flawed, since there have been several books that are found that aren't in the King James or New International versions? And also, since the word was given to authors to write it down from God, but humans always make errors. So,
well, I think humans do make errors a lot.
So do you think that the Bible could be flawed or incomplete with all that information?
Well, I tell you what my way is there's so many questions about the Bible, and is this inaccurate, or there's so many things that you could think of, that but there's no answers to these things. So what I do is I just hold on to what I can see is real, that I know is real. And,
I'll tell you what's not real. I'll tell you what's not real. Go ahead, keep talking. I'll come in.
I mean, there's many ways that the Bible proves that the nation of Israel is this nation that God created. And so God did something. He did what he promised Abraham he was going to do. And the nation of Israel is right here in the world today. So the existence of Israel proves that God really did what he promised Abraham he's going to do. Now, God gave this specific land to Abraham and his descendants. It is the land of Israel. When Moses led the people, the nation of Israel, out of Egypt, right when he brought them to this promised land, he gave the geographical boundaries of the land that they were going to go in and possess. Okay. Moses, they didn't have GPS and all that back then. So Moses used natural boundaries. He said the western boundary is the Mediterranean Sea. And he said the eastern boundary is the Jordan River. Okay, there's only one piece of land that lies between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea. The Jordan River runs from the Sea of Galilee down to the Salt Sea, the Dead Sea. That's the nation of Israel. That's the only nation or land there is there. But Moses also gave the northern and the southern boundaries, using like mountains and stuff like that. If you look at these boundaries are recorded in the book of Numbers, chapter 34, verse 1. If you look at those and you get out a map of Israel, you'll see the geographical boundaries that Moses wrote down in the book of Numbers are exactly the nation of Israel. And then there's this thing here, like when the Bible tells us when Abraham came into this land that God promised to give to him, it names the places that he came to. He first came to a place called Shechem. Then he went to a place called Bethel. Later on, he visited Beersheba. Okay, Beersheba is the 7th largest city in the land of Israel today. It's the 2nd in land area. But this place that the Bible names that Abraham came to are in the nation of Israel today. And where Abraham traveled was in this land that God gave to him. He went to a place called Haran. It says, the Bible says he bought a field there. It had a cave in it. That's where he buried his wife, Sarah. That's where Abraham is buried, and some of his other descendants, like Joseph. Okay, so the Haran is in the land of Israel. All these places that the Bible names that Abraham lived in, visited, are all in the land of Israel. So what does this do? This proves that the land that God gave to Abraham is the land of Israel. Abraham was the first man in the Bible to be called a Hebrew. When God sent Moses in to speak before Pharaoh, he says, the God of the Hebrews says, let my people go free. The God of the Hebrews. Abraham was a Hebrew. Okay. The descendants of Abraham are referred to in the Old Testament 18 times as Hebrews. Hebrew is the national language of Israel today. If you go to Israel and you drive down the road, you're going to see a street sign or a sign. It's in Hebrew. Hebrew is the official national language of Israel. Why? It's because Abraham was a Hebrew, and all of his descendants are Hebrew.
Sean, you have something on your mind.
Do I?
Yeah.
Yeah, do I?
You said you did.
Okay.
What you got?
You know, I respect you're a minister, you know, and I respect that you do preach on Genesis and the Hebrews and stuff. I have nothing against that. In fact, I respect what you believe in. But when I started doing the paranormal stuff, you know, I started to listen to Bible scholars, and I started to watch history channels on the Bible and all that stuff. And here's what blew me away. And this is what totally determined me from not believing in the Bible. And this is just me. For any of my listeners out there, I'm sorry if I, you know, tell you this, but in the New Testament, John was written, okay? And John blamed Judas. You know, the Bible blamed Judas for turning, you know, like snitching on God, on Jesus, right?
Yeah.
But here's the deal. John was written 96 years after Christ died. So how in the hell the guy who wrote that book, which I think was Moses, I'm not sure, but how can that guy who wrote the book of John 96 years later after Christ died, how can he blame Judas? Here's my theory. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm taking it out of context or whatever. But I do believe that the Judeans are the ones that crucified Christ on the cross.
No doubt.
Right. Now, in order to throw Judas as a scapegoat and not blaming the Judeans, okay, if you look at Judeans and you look at the Judas, they match. And that's how Judas got the raw deal out of that in the Bible. So to me, when I found that out, okay, I don't put no faith in the Bible. I don't have no faith in Genesis because Moses wrote that book. you know. So that is how I feel about the Bible. So I have a hard time believing it. Think about it, right? How do you think about the Palestinians? Okay, how the Palestinians are furious because Israel, you know, the Jews got Israel in the middle of their own town in 1948 in their own country. How would you feel about that? You know, somebody coming in on your territory and, oh, God said it was okay. You know, don't get me wrong. I believe in God. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a hard time believing in Jesus Christ. And that's for me. Okay. And I've been sober for 31 years. Okay. And God has saved my life. But I think there's only one book in the Bible that I truly go by, and that's the book of Job. Okay. Because I relate myself to Job. But with every other story in there, not putting St. Thomas in, not putting the book of Mary Magdalene in, not putting in, it was all put in the Bible so people could go the Christianity way. Now, St. Thomas, right? The book of Thomas. Thomas didn't believe in going to a four-wall building and pray with other people for God to love him. Thomas believed that he can go anywhere out there, sit down and talk to God, and God will still love him. You know what I mean?
Was that one of the lost books?
Yeah, it is. Mary Magdalene. There's a couple other ones that weren't put in there because it didn't fit the Christianity part of the book.
Right.
You know, so whenever Christianity went over into England, Wales, and Ireland, okay, they wanted to stop people believing in paganism. Okay, so they threw all this stuff at them, and eventually they converted into Christianity, which I don't think is fair. You know, so
many Christian beliefs stem from paganism. So.
I agree with you, and that's true. I do agree with it. But what I see and read in the Bible, I don't believe it, and that's how I feel. And the sad thing is, I was raised Catholic for 12 years.
And you studied to be a priest.
And I was going to be a priest.
Oh boy.
Well, I guess I'm just really a simple-minded person. You know, there's so many things like about Judas or about so many things that it makes you question. It makes you try to figure out, well, why or how this. You know, there's just so many things, and I'm just.
But why would God give, you know, the Israel, the Jewish people, or the Israelites, whoever, promise them to make their life good, make their life good, make their life good. And then they go around and they crucify Jesus. What's up with that?
Abraham did have his first son was named Ishmael, and Ishmael, well, Sarah, his wife, was like barren. She'd never had any children all her life. She's 90 years old. So she and the Bible says she went through the stage of the what do you call it? Change of life. You know, it's common among women. So it's kind of like, she'd been barren her whole life. She's 90 years old. Plus she went through menopause or whatever. So her reproductive system totally shut down. So I think she gave up. You know, she's like, okay, I'm never going to have any children. So she gave her Egyptian handmaiden or servant girl to Abraham so he could have a child by her. And I guess Sarah, just like, she's desperate. She's like, well, this is the only thing I can do. You know, maybe if she has a baby and you know, maybe that'll kind of be mine. I mean, she's desperate. And so that was Abraham's firstborn child was Ishmael. And then, you know, God worked a miracle. I mean, he told Abraham, like, okay, in 1 year's time, he told this to Sarah and Abraham, you're going to have a child. Okay, can you imagine what this 90-year-old woman had never had any children all her life and had gone through the change of life, thought when God said in 1 year's time, you're going to have a child? She cracked up. She cracked up. She was back in her tent and she started cracking up. Abraham laughed. He was 100 years old. And because this is impossible. But in 1 year's time, they had a child and they named him Isaac. I mean, God created life. He created human beings, the first two human beings. So he can create life anytime he wants to. So he created a life and gave two old people that was way too old to have any children. He gave him a child and his name was Isaac. Okay. So the Arab people, you know, they believe that land, all that land belongs to them because Ishmael was the firstborn son. And in that part of the country, in that area, the firstborn has all the rights. Okay, but here's the thing. God has the divine and sovereign right to veto whatever he wants to veto. The creator of the world, the creator of the universe, the creator of life, he chose that he's going to fulfill the promise he made to Abraham, not through Ishmael, his firstborn, but through Isaac. And Isaac had Jacob, Jacob and Esau. He had twins, in which God changed Jacob's name into Israel. So this is what God planned. This is what he chose to do. And the Bible makes it very well known. It comes right out and says that God says, I chose to fulfill these promises and give this land through Isaac's descendants. Okay, the thing is, the Arab people are not willing to accept this. Yeah. The sad thing about it is the Arab people believe in the God of Abraham. They do. They believe in the God of Abraham. They just call him by a different name. They call him Allah, but they do not believe that God they think that land belongs to Ishmael. But when the Bible makes it clear that God says, I'm going to give it to Isaac's descendants. So the war's on. It's on, and it's always been on, and it probably will always be on. But that's what the controversy is about. And I don't know if there is a fix to it. I mean, I think it's just going to keep on going. But it is kind of sad because there is the tendency for a lot of people to. I mean, that was a tradition at the time. The firstborn has the first rights to everything and owns everything. So anyway, that's just something me and you is not going to fix. It's just the way it's happened. And there's always been war there, and probably always will be. But I'm just simple-minded, man. I mean, there's so many things that you could question or wonder about, and could cause you to doubt and everything. But I just, back at that time, I mean, I needed a fix to change my life. I needed a fix really bad. I mean, I was going to wipe out. My oldest brother came to me when I was crashing over these people's house on this multi-day party binge, and he looked me up. He looked me up, and I was about 22 years old there. Everybody said, "Hey, your brother's here. Your brother's here." So I went out, and he said, "Hey, I come to talk to you, Dave. Can we go outside and talk?" And I said, "Yeah." So we went out by his car, and he looked at me, and he said, "Well, here's why I came today." He said, "Have you looked in a mirror lately?" And he said, "Man, me and your whole family, we're really, really worried about you. We're concerned because you don't look good. And we're thinking if you keep going down this road you're on, you might not be around too much longer." I'm telling you, people, I felt sick. I mean, I pushed my mind and my body just way too hard. You can only beat yourself up so much. Your body's going to say, "I give up." And so I was pushed to a really dangerous position. I was in a life-threatening situation. And that's when God came and lended me a helping hand. And I thank God for that. But, since I was desperate to try to find a way to change my life, but I couldn't see any way to change my life. I mean, I tried to think of different ways. I'm like, I don't think any of this is going to work. And that's when God helped me to get interested in the Bible. Okay. So that became like my only hope. And so I followed that hope, and I started reading the Bible about Jesus. And then I came to the place where I realized, man, I just don't have enough faith to make anything happen. I couldn't even pray to God because I just, I thought my faith, I felt like, well, God might be real, but I didn't know in any real way that he was real. So that's when I think God helped me to see that, well, I need to find proof. I need to find some kind of.
Okay, so let's get to the proof, because I know a lot of people in the audience are listening today. That's why they tuned in. They want to know what the proof is of God existed. Now, I could just say, yeah, I believe, because that's what I believe. Yeah, I believe there is God because that's my theology. That's what I believe.
Yeah.
My mantra, whatever. But there's people out there want to know. You said you have proof of God's existence, and that's what Sean wants to know. What is your proof?
Well, yeah, that the nation of Israel, the existence of nation of Israel.
I know you, excuse me, you keep saying the nation of Israel, but people don't understand. Well, what does that have to do with the proof of God's existence?
Well, because God came to Abraham. It records how God came to Abraham, and he promised Actually, it says he swore an oath. More.
Okay, so you're saying this because what Abraham was told and what he believed to be God's coming to him. So that is the proof of God is
God promised that he would make a nation from his descendants and give this land to him. So the nation of Israel is that nation. I mean, the Bible proves this that many times over in like irrefutable ways.
Trish, excuse me, Trish, you seem like you're like looking at that screen and you want to say something. What do you think?
I was just thinking, well, that's kind of like, you could say that about many nations, like the U.S. We're one nation under God. There's, which was also based on the beliefs of our, founding fathers. But that's not really, that wasn't really proof, I guess. Like Jenny's saying, it wasn't, it was, they brought those beliefs from other countries as well when they settled here. So, another thing I was going to say, it's interesting because I go a lot by names and their meanings, that the name Jacob can be associated with a deceiver, the great deceiver.
Yeah.
And Israel is, the meaning of that name is wrestles with God. So the fact that the name was changed, the saying, what's in a name? Well, there's a lot in a name. It's also interesting. I looked up Ishmael, and that's the meaning behind that one is God listens. So
well, actually, the first time God actually gave Jacob the name Israel was when he came back from where he got his wives. He came back and where he camped out. He actually says he wrestled with an angel all night long, and so at the end of that time, the next morning, the angel gave Jacob that name, and that's the very first time that his name was called Israel. So he wrestles with God. That's, I guess, why he got that name. But I mean, one thing comes to my mind. There's so many ways that the Bible proves that the nation is the nation God created from Abraham's descendants, as he promised he would do. But to the Israelite people, even today, every single year, they keep a very special holiday, which is called the Day of Passover.
Yeah.
Okay? The reason they do this is because the 10th plague, God sent 10 plagues against the land of Egypt, so they would set the nation of Israel or God's people free. The 10th plague was the most severe. I mean, and in the 10th plague, death came to all the firstborn throughout the whole entire land of Egypt, even among their animals. Okay, so God saved the nation of Israel. He told them the night before, or that going into that night, he said, kill a lamb, take its blood, and paint it around the doorpost, all the way around the doors of your house. So when death passes through the land of Egypt and all the firstborn in Egypt die, it'll pass over you because of blood. So they did what God spoke that to Moses. Moses told the people obeyed, they did it. And so not one single Israelite died, but the firstborn of everyone throughout the land of Egypt died, including the firstborn of Pharaoh's son. And so after this happened, Moses commanded the nation of Israel to every year to keep this day as a holy day, as a holy day. So it's called the Day of Passover. And even when the nation of Israel was, exiled around all the world, they kept this Passover every year, and they still do it today. Well, this is the day that Moses commanded them back when he led, when they were being delivered from the land of Egypt. Moses commanded them to keep this every year. That's that for 1900 years almost they were in exile. They kept it every year. They keep it every year today. Okay, so this shows that these people, this has been passed down from generation to generation for 2,000 years almost. This shows that these people are the descendants that Moses led out of Egypt because they keep this day of Passover every year. And it's like bigger than Christmas to us. And Moses is the one that incorporated that and told them to do it. They've done that every year. So there's a lot of things like this that you just kind of got to, take what's obvious.
Yeah.
The Bible, reveals in many ways. so God did, the proof of God is that he did what he promised Abraham.
Yeah, he did.
It
So,
happened.
so
And I
here's a
agree with
question.
you. And I agree
So-
with you
And
100%.
it is, I mean, so
I got
important for
one
people.
I got to ask about this. The belief of God is enough for millions of people, and we know that, and that is awesome. But if we're talking about changing the hearts and minds of people that are non-believers, they're looking for
Physical
actual
proof.
evidence other than just reading the Bible, because a lot of people, it was written by man,
Yeah.
through God, through man, but it's been
Through translation,
many-
it was
so many
changed, Jason. You're
times,
right.
especially like in old times, like someone was talking about the times of the Crusaders. A lot of books were altered to suppress any beliefs in the Christian church, from the hierarchy and stuff like that. But it's the non-believers, that what they want to see the proof that yes, this is real, other than just going off what the Bible has to say.
Yeah.
And one of our
kinda like-
comments is asking too, Joni is asking, okay, so what's the physical proof?
I mean, you kind of think about it like a paranormal, kind of sense. A lot of people believe in ghosts and spirits, and a lot of people don't. But when you could show the actual proof, like, look what we caught, this is real, this is actual stuff, then it's able to change minds into seeing that side of things. It's the people that they want to see the actual, like, what do we have, to show.
Well, it's true. I mean, to come to God, you have to have faith. You have to believe that he is. You have to have faith. I mean, the Bible makes that clear. And, that's the way, discovering that the nation of Israel is proof of God's reality. That's what brought faith to me. I mean, when I first turned and tried to search for proof, I wanted to try to find something that's existing in the world that I could see that is the result of something real important the Bible says has happened. And that's what I found. I mean, I know now that God led me to that. And, whenever I discovered that the nation of Israel is the nation God created from Abraham's descendants, and it's right here in the world, then I thought my take on that was, wow, I found a lot greater proof than what I was ever hoping or expecting to find. I found a whole nation of people. Look, there's a lot of other nations. I mean, is it Trish?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, you mentioned the United States, but okay, so yeah, we were founded on belief in God, and we were seeking freedom. Well, that's a good principle. I don't know what happened, but something really bad happened along the way here. But but the thing is, God did not create the nation, the United States. God actually created with his supernatural powers. The nation of Israel didn't come into existence in a natural way. God, when he spoke to Abraham, he said, I am going to make a nation from your descendants. He didn't say a nation's just going to come. He said, I am going to make a nation. He said, I'm going to give this land to you forever. So then you just read on all these miraculous works and supernatural miracles. I mean, what God turned the first disaster he sent against Egypt. He turned all the water throughout the entire land of Egypt into blood, the blood of the Nile River, but also their streams, their ponds. Even the blood where water that people had drawn out of a well or spring, put it in vessels of clay and brought it into their house to wash their hands with and cook with, turned into blood. This is like unbelievable.
Where's the proof? Where's the proof?
Well, the Bible just tells us that. I mean, you just believe it or not. But the God brought the nation of Israel into existence by the working of his supernatural powers. Okay, that's the only nation that God has ever created himself exclusively by his supernatural power. Only nation. And the nation of Israel, it's just super important. I mean, actually, God gave his laws. He came down on Mount Sinai and gave the 10 commandments to the nation of Israel. Okay, well, that's gone out to all the world. Mm-hmm. That's our backbone of our morals and our laws. God gave the Bible to the whole world through the nation of Israel. The people of the descendants of Abraham wrote the entire Bible. Apostle Paul wrote 2/3 of the New Testament. He was an Israelite. God brought Jesus into this world through the nation of Israel. He was born. His earthly mother and father was descendants of Abraham. Jesus lived there. He was born there. He grew up there. He worked all of his miracles. He died on a cross in the land of Israel. he made the way of salvation through the nation of Israel. Okay, this is something super important that might go beyond where you're at. But someday, the land of Israel will be the eternal promised land for all of God's people. So all the Gentile people and Abraham and many of his descendants are going to be brought in to a new city that the Bible refers to in the book of Revelations as the New Jerusalem. Okay, this city is 1,400 miles square. That's half as big as the United States. It has streets of gold. It's more glorious than anything that any human being could ever imagine. And it's hard to believe that that's really going to happen. But the God that created this whole universe and created life, he will make it happen. He's revealed it to his prophet John, who was one of Jesus' original 12 disciples. And this is how God, will fulfill his promise to Abraham. We've talked about how God promised Abraham he's going to give him this land forever. Okay, when this world, this age comes to an end, and there's a day of judgment, after that, God's going to bring this holy city called New Jerusalem down from the sky. It's going to settle down here in a new earth that God's going to create, and that's going to be heaven. Heaven's not going to be up where God is now. God's going to bring heaven down here. It's a city that has streets of gold, and God says he's going to bring his throne and the throne of Jesus and all of his people. So when God brings Abraham into that city, it's called the New Jerusalem. God's already given this land to Abraham and his descendants forever. So when God brings Abraham into this city and eternity begins, then God will fulfill what he promised Abraham to give him this land forever. This is an interesting little fact. The names of Abraham's great-grandsons, which are the sons of Israel, are written. The Bible says they're going to be written on the 12 gates of that city. There's 3 gates on each side, 12 gates. The names of Israel's sons are written on those gates. And that's kind of a way God is saying this city belongs to Abraham. It's in the land I've given to him. The names of his great-grandsons are written on the gates of this city. I know it's hard to believe that this is going to really happen. You know how much I believe it's going to happen? This as much as I'm sitting right here.
I believe you believe it's going to happen. And I believe it is. In one of our comments said, if you had actual proof of God, God would not exist. That's something to think about. Go ahead, Jason.
We're talking about, water turning into blood and everything. It was brought to my attention, back then, couldn't such plagues be actual natural experiences because of things such as like red tide and bacteria that actually turns water red for a short period of time? Because it could be confused back then because nobody had like technology or, scientific equipment like we have. They just see it and like, oh my goodness, what is this? Is that a possibility?
I think so. I mean, I think there's things that could happen. Actually, the Bible says that there were some Egyptian magicians that came and turned some water into like red. It wasn't maybe not blood, it was red. But yeah, I mean, something could happen. But if you put all the pieces, it's kind of like a jigsaw puzzle. If you put all the pieces together, then you see God did one thing, but he sent 10 plagues.
What about the Bible doesn't say anything about dinosaurs or anything like that, but they existed,
they did talk about dragons in the Bible, in the Old Testament. I've just read it because I read the Bible every day. And I know that's kind of strange because I'm in the paranormal, but I was just reading. I said, wow, they had dragons in the Bible. There might have been dinosaurs. We don't know.
That's another question I have too with the paranormal world is, isn't it, when you die, you go to heaven or hell? Then if that's fully the case, then why are there so many spirits that are still roaming the earth?
Because they don't want to die.
Well,
there were spirits in the Bible too.
If you have to go somewhere, why is there so many that are here?
Lost souls.
Lost souls.
That's
Or they go to hell.
Well, I know that the Bible tells us there. The Apostle Paul said that we wrestle not against flesh and bones or flesh, but spiritual powers in high places. Yep. So, I mean, there are evil forces in this world. I mean, the Bible tells us that Satan got kicked out of heaven. He rebelled against God. He wanted to be
just like God.
He led a third of the heaven's angels to revolt or rebel, and they got kicked out. So they're here on earth, and they're somehow when Adam and Eve turned away and disobeyed God, God said, you're going to die the day you do this. Well, they didn't die physically, but something died because God what he says, it happened. So they died spiritually. Their spiritual connection with God died. And somehow they got opened up. They became vulnerable to influence from the evil forces. And I mean, these evil forces, I believe they probably do have a body, but they choose not to make themselves seen. They can effectively destroy humanity working in an unseen way, but they are spiritual powers the spiritual powers of the evil forces are just as real as the Spirit of God.
And that's where we're going to leave it for right now, because we have to take a break, because this episode was sponsored by Ohio Hauntings. I have to play.
Pause for the cause.
Go for it.
Let it play. I want to thank our first sponsor, Ohio Hauntings and Legend Podcasts. They'll take you on 1,000 of haunted locations, unexplained paranormal, campfire stories, supernatural happenings, and legends from all over Ohio's 88 counties that have stained by the pages of Ohio Hauntings history. Stories that have haunted our society, tales that have gripped towns and cities across Ohio for centuries as true events. Many of these episodes are genuine, others are legend or hearsay. Their motto is believe those that can choose or believe in none. It's your choice. Just get comfortable, sit back, dim the lights, and listen. Okay, so let's start. We're going to switch gears a little bit before we call it a night with David. We are going to switch gears, and I want to know, okay, so if you believe in this, oh my God, I can't get rid of this now. Okay, there we go. That was better. Okay, so we're going to switch gears, because I see the comments and I see that we're going back to, about the unfinished business people have. That's why they're spirits.
Well, I got a question about that.
Go ahead.
This is just real quick. We're talking about, people, spirits on earth because of unfinished business and stuff like that. Then why are there so many children's spirits that are still here? Because, they're revered in the Bible as innocent. It's evil spirits. Yeah, I could see that. That makes total sense, because they can't, they can roam the earth and all that, but they're like, children are innocent. Like, why does God allow their spirits to just be lost on the earth?
Are you asking me that?
Anybody. I'd like to know.
I'll pass that on to somebody.
Well, because you mean, why is there so many young spirits?
Like children's spirits.
Well,
like children
I'll
are
tell
innocent,
Here's what I think about that situation is that when they do die, okay, they're by themselves. They don't know what to do. They don't know where to go.
But why does God let them stay here? Like, why doesn't he take them because they're innocent to heaven? He lets these children stay here and suffer or be lost. That doesn't make any sense.
Because when you die, okay, even though your spirit leaves your body.
Okay, well, I'm
we're talking about
devil's advocate. How do you know that they're really children's spirits?
I was about to say that there are so many demonic entities that would portray themselves as children because they are innocent.
True.
So
right.
That would be an easy, that would play on an adult's vulnerability as well.
And that's what I said.
That's a high possibility, but we have been on investigations and have contacted and caught EVPs of actual children voices responding to specific questions.
The demonic presence is imitating a child.
But I'm there.
What is that? What do you have to say?
I also think that they, it depends on the nature of how the person or the child died. If it was something really dramatic or traumatic, then that would be the same with an adult as well, because it's the energy of what happened. So,
exactly.
A lot of more spiritual people opposed to the religious side believe that our spirits live on forever. So it wouldn't, it might come off, the child spirit might come across to you all as a child, but that child's soul might be, hundreds of years old for that matter. So
but
a lot of variables.
I can't imagine God leaving children here. I
don't know.
I don't
I mean,
know either.
I
mean, I've
catching
been in the
evidence of stuff
business.
that's not malicious.
Dave's wondering, why am I here on this show?
No, it's all right.
Mediums have
thought at least
spoken to
somebody
kids and stuff.
asked me like, "What was this picture behind me?" That not
looks like
one of you guys asked me like, "Wow, what is that?"
What is that picture?
What is that?
Well,
What is
okay, I'm glad you asked. I'll try to move out of the way. No, I can't get out of the way. That's a picture of the nation of Israel when Moses had led them out of Egypt, and they went on a 40-year camping trip. 40 years. They camped in the desert. They lived in tents, and God instructed, when God gave Moses the 10 Commandments, he instructed him to build this portable tabernacle, kind of like church. And so he did. And it had different compartments, but on the inside it had what they call the Holy of Holies, and that's where they kept the Ark of the Covenant. And I'm sure you know what the Ark of the Covenant, because you watch Raiders or whatever, and search the Ark. But it actually was real. It was a wooden chest that was overlaid with gold, and they put the 10 Commandments, the tablets of stone that God actually wrote his laws on inside that, and God regarded that as most holy. And during their 40-year camping trip, God provided a supernatural food for the children of Israel. Every day they went out and they gathered up on the ground. They must have been big enough to pick up. It's like wafers. They called it manna. And it's spoiled overnight, so they couldn't keep it. But they took a bowl of that manna and put it in the Ark of Covenant, and it stayed for years and years and years because supernatural God. But anyway, I seen that picture one day, and I just this pillar of fire right here was over that tabernacle every day for 40 years. Mm-hmm. And that was like the manifestation of Almighty God. Yeah. And during the day, there was a pillar of cloud over that tabernacle. So this is cool. I mean, these are only people on planet Earth that could look out their tent and say, "Oh, look, there's God," But, they were super privileged, more than any nation in the world, but they had a worse luck and been treated horribly than any other nation because they didn't really stay true to God,
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's why 6 million of them got killed in the Holocaust,
Well, exactly. Well, we're going to leave it here, Dave, but I will just say I know the existence of God because I see it in the face of my children. So that's how I know that there is a God. So I don't need to be told about Israel because I believe it. But
that's just the way that I got started. But I wish I had time to tell you about the personal encounters.
Absolutely. But I'm glad you came on the show today.
Yes,
thank you so much for coming on.
Good
discussion. Good discussion.
Where can someone get your information if they want to learn more about the nation of Israel?
Okay. I have a website. It's dtministries.net. DT's for my initials, Dave Turner. Ministries is plural, dtministries.net. And I've got 4 writings. That's all there is on this website. 4 writings. One of them is about the nation of Israel. Everything.
Absolutely. I will definitely check it out. But thank you so much. Enjoy the evening. And thanks again for coming on Chasing Prophecy. We really appreciate it. You have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you, Dave.
Well, that was interesting. Not what I was hoping. He was going to give us some solid. I wanted to talk to him more about the shroud. If that's really Jesus, but I don't think he would go there. So I'm glad we had him on the show. He believes that the nation of Israel. I believe. See, now I believe what he's saying, and a lot of people out there, they want specific proof. Like, you're not going to get any proof like that. That's where faith, like he said, comes in. Faith comes in if they believe that. I believe that there's God. I believe there's the most powerful existence in life, and I believe, but I also understand where he's coming from. There has to be something that happens to you in your life that you need to find God. I've had all that. I was into spirituality. I was into the moon crystals and all that, and I changed my ways to a point where I was never actually a pagan. I always believed in Christ, but now that I've learning more about the Bible and how to interpret it. He didn't really get into that, like what you said about Abraham, what he was saying about Abraham. I mean, you have to really go deep into the Bible to understand Abraham and how the nation of Israel is so important, because that was the birthplace of Christ. That's where it all started. And that's where he said it's going to finish. And according to Revelations, that's where it's going to finish. And if you ever read Revelation, I don't know, it's a really hard to understand book. So I know where he's coming from, and I'm glad I had him on the show. But unfortunately, Joni, I am sorry, he doesn't give you proof that you're wanting to look at. So
she
there's
says,
my
look at Sean's face.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Sean. That's why you went to
You look
hell
so.
when you died.
I can feel the heat coming through my computer screen.
But
What's on your mind,
God.
Pat?
I mean, it was a good. I mean, I'm going to check him out. You know, and
I mean, I like what Dave was talking about, but you know, I was raised Catholic and everything, and you know, my grandma, you know, she, you know, Carmelite and everything. So I've heard a lot of these things going on. But as I'm getting older, you know, you realize, you know, there's so much man-made. There's man-written stuff in the book.
It's been through translation.
Like,
You don't know
I believe in God,
right.
yes.
But who's translating it?
Yeah, who's translating it?
You're right, Sean. It's been like translated so many times.
Not only that, everybody's perception is different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of everything, everybody's perception,
absolutely.
You know, of other people are different than everybody else's, for that matter, much less religions. So I think it can be interpreted in many ways. Now, I was about to say the poster he had on the wall. Some people might think that looked like, you know, Independence Day or something. So
it looked like a FEMA camp.
So you know, it goes, and the same thing. A lot of people in spiritual communities could say that when they hear messages from a higher power, from God, or
they're crazy,
whatever you believe in. No, they would say that's your higher consciousness, that's your higher self. You know, so it's all left to interpretation when it comes to the Bible, in my opinion. You know?
Yeah, you're right.
You know, you figure way back, you know, like we were talking about, you know, the land of the Crusaders and stuff. You know, how many times were the books, you know, mellowed down or stuff removed just because the kings wanted to override the religion. You know,
well, see, when
so much
when they wrote the Bible, if I saw something on this, everybody who had a book to put into the Bible went to this one monk. Okay. And if he did not approve of the story that was into the Bible, he would toss it. Now think about it, right? Say like that monk was drunk that night, okay, and he decided to put the book of St. Thomas in to the Bible, okay? It
would have changed everything.
It wasn't there a book of Thomas that they took out of the Bible? And then there was a Mary Magdalene.
No, he was never in there. They never put it in there. They never put it in it.
Isn't it the Ethiopian version and the King James are the actual, like, two closest to the, you know, being the actual truth, and all the other ones have been like so twisted over the years and rewritten that, you know, it half of it doesn't even...
They wanted to change the Our Father. The Catholic Church wanted. Why do you want to change the Our Father? Because it's been interpreted wrong. We need to change it this way. Okay, then who told you? So I understand that. I mean, but I don't know. Everybody has their own thoughts on it.
Just think about it. Back to my story. Okay, so say like that monk is drunk and put St. Thomas in the Bible. So
nice rhyme, Sean.
Christianity is over in England, okay? And they're trying to convert these pagans into Christianity. Well, all of a sudden they're reading this Bible and they see St. Thomas's book in it.
Yeah,
and they're thinking, okay, why? Why, you know, you put this in the Bible, so why do we need to follow your church when I can just listen to St. Thomas and do it our way?
You don't know who to believe, Sean. And the funny thing is, you still don't, like I said, the Catholic Church has been infiltrated by the devil in 1940. And it's so hard to, you know, how do you know what they're so evil? I mean, I basically am saying that the Catholic Church is evil. And it pisses me off because I am a Catholic and I won't give it up.
I'm Catholic as well.
You know what I mean? I won't give it up. I go to church every Sunday. I listen to it. I zone out. I'm not there to...
Too many people run it.
Yes, I'm not
Yes.
there to listen to the priest. I zone him out. I just go there to worship. And it's a shame how this whole devil stuff. And not only did they infiltrate the Catholic Church, they also the Democratic Party. I'm sorry, but they have. There's some evil people in there, and they should be removed. And there's nothing we can do about it. And you keep thinking, okay, Trish, I don't know about you, that when I listen to the news and everything, and I'm thinking maybe that's why I wanted him on the show, to give us some kind of, there's the proof of God that this is okay. Something better is going to happen. And we need that. We need that right now, that we need to have hope. And he didn't I don't think he gave the audience what they were looking for. I don't know about you, Trish. I mean, did you?
I mean, as far as physical proof, which I'm much the same way as far as my beliefs. Years ago, I started losing, I was very religious. I never missed a day in church. I've attended many different churches, for that matter, throughout my life. And I think, but I was one of those, I still am, for the most part, I have to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
So, which is the same with spirits and supernatural and paranormal, anything in my life. But I always have seen those things and had proof of those things in my life. So believing in God was something that I wanted proof of as well. And if you, I guess all I can say about that is if sometimes if you ask for that, you'll be shown that, but you have to pay attention.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that happens to each individual, I would probably say, and you can interpret it as your higher self. You could interpret it as an alien. You can, whoever your God is, how that saves your life or changes your life or whatever, has meaning to you, and you have your own proof. And then you stop looking for proof outside of that, like physical proof. But I think that's the only way that anything changes, because people always say, well, if there is a God, why would he, like with children, why would he allow children to die? Why would he allow wars? Why this, why that?
Why wouldn't he allow it, though?
Everyone,
like bad things.
Everyone is a villain in someone's book. There's a reason for everything. So
isn't that free choice? Doesn't that come down to God gave us free choice?
That's why he gave. My mother always tells me that he gave you the choice. Now they say, why do bad things happen? Why did my uncle get hit by a car? Well, God gave him the choice that he could go out in his car and go someplace. Or why was my wife thrown over the boat on some kind of cruise ship? Well, God gave you the choice to go on a cruise. But my mother, she always says that.
I think it's the butterfly effect.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. But since we only have a lot of time left, let's talk about let's talk about something that's going on. Okay, we were talking about why is there children spirits? No, like I like that part where Chris was saying that was the devil, that's the demons.
Interesting.
I got a story about that one too.
Okay.
When I was before Jason got into the group, we did an investigation over in Green Tree, and there was a little girl ghost spirit there, and right outside the house there was a road, and she got killed there. Okay, and she was in this house, and when I went into my meditation and talked to her, she was looking for her parents. Okay. And she was lonely, and she was looking for her parents, and I helped her, and all of a sudden the light opened up. There were her parents standing in the light, so because her parents died too. But I mean, to me, the little girl wanted to stay where she was at just to find her parents. Now that could possibly mean that all the other kids are doing the same thing. They're like, okay, mommy, I'm dying, but I see you alive. I can't go nowhere because I'm afraid to go on myself. And that's the way I look at that.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I can see that happening. I mean, But I just don't feel like I don't think I would hope that God didn't leave little kids here, okay, by them to wander.
But that's
Well,
the
they do,
question,
Jenny.
why is there
They
kids?
do.
Yeah, granted, that
It was a demon.
no, listen,
No.
Maybe all
Sure.
children start out as demons and then they become
yeah, right when they're toddlers.
Yeah, I could see my kids being a demon.
But think about it, if there's children's spirits and if say it is actually a demon disguised as a children's spirit, they have malicious intent. They're going to create some kind of havoc. But when you're communicating with these actual children's spirits that are trying to get information, or like Sean said, trying to find parents or understand what happened, that's a whole different ballgame when there's no malicious, intent behind anything. There's a child spirit that lives in my house. And it plays with the puppies sometimes. We'll knock on doors, turn doorknobs. Nothing malicious here at all.
demons.
I feel like
for thousands of years they could be very patient.
Demons. There's no one to. They don't mess around with those little buggers.
No.
I'm sorry.
right. But I still, I feel like none of us know the actual answers, but
Exactly.
based off of the evidence and proof that you gather, like Sean and I have gathered a lot of proof and evidence and have caught children voices responding to direct questions to find out with no malicious intent. So that, obviously for us, that's a child looking for some kind of answer.
So
Go ahead, Trish. I'm sorry.
Here's how a lot of things work in my life as far as how I'm drawn to specific locations or like murder cases and things like that. And I was in Atchison, Kansas, which is very well known here. The Pope won't even fly over Atchison.
Really?
So that's where the Sally House is. That's where, it's home to a lot of, there's a very supposedly haunted cemetery there. But anyways, I was driving, and this was just recently, and saw, there was graffiti on a wall that said Genesis, but it looked like little red bloody handprints. So this is what came up when we started talking about the children, and the song that was playing, on my radio at the time was "Song of the Innocents" by YouTube. So I'm like, okay,
that's something.
It starts triggering things. And then I was thinking about throughout history in mythology and different, even in like fairy folklore, the children have often been, you talk about witches, anything like that, vampires, even the children have been stolen or their souls from their bodies because they're the innocent. So I'm wondering how, it's a common theme, and it's a common, even in the reality in our world, in the 3D, it's always with children, there's trafficking and so many things that involve children. So, but that's been around forever. So I wonder what the correlation is with all of that as far as.
Did you see that? What was that?
What was what?
I don't know. Something flew over her head.
Oh,
I didn't see it.
I saw it.
Probably an orb.
Oh, when we rewind, we'll see it. No, I did.
Maybe a child spirit.
Well, you're right about the child trafficking and how there's.
And I just watched it last night, so here I am thinking about all this.
That is the scariest freaking movie.
But I feel like there's a big difference though between talking about folklore, with children and stuff. That's what people like to be freaked out and scared about stuff and watch movies and stuff. But differentiating the folklore to what we actually gather, let's say like paranormal investigators, that's completely separate. That's actual.
I think there's still truth behind a lot of that. It was their interpretation at the time, just like we were talking about with the like the bloody rivers and things like that. It could be what if it's like the difference between Mothman and angels, or
Oh God, that reminds me of. Did anybody see that? It's called Midnight Mass on Netflix. No. I don't want to give any spoilers.
I heard about it, but I didn't watch it yet. My mom was telling me about that.
You guys got Netflix?
Yeah.
Watch it. Then we can talk about what she just talked about the
Hey, Trish, there
Mothman.
is a fly going from
Is
your
it a
camera.
fly? Because I thought
It's
maybe
a
it was an
fly.
alien.
Bug.
Yeah. No, it's a bug. It's a bug.
I have my windows open because the weather's nice.
Oh, must be nice to be in Kansas.
Yeah, we're getting.
That's right about Mothman because he looks like he could be an angel because he has wings. He could
Yeah.
be a demon because demons are angels. And they
Right.
have wings.
I was thinking about that the other day too because all the movies, the horror flicks from the 80s are coming back, and if you've seen Hellraiser, on the
Oh my
title
God,
of
that's
that
so
movie
scary.
it says an angel to some, a demon to others, or something like that. So that's very true as well.
Yeah, like how do you know it isn't an angel or a demon? That's spooky.
Yeah.
Mothman
I'm going to
freaks
go
me
down
out.
there. I'm going to go down there and try to find the Mothman. I am.
Go ahead.
What, West Virginia?
I will. I
Where
will. Down
Mothman
West.
prophecy
When he
was
comes,
fulfilled?
when he comes
I
after you,
am.
I'm gonna wave.
Oh, I'll run. I'll say, here, I say, come on, take me. I'm going to take a
I
selfie
hope
with
he
you,
Can't
comes
pick
right?
you up.
visit
What are you
you
talking
tonight.
about?
I'd
That's
say taking this selfie enough. Say, look, Jenny,
my
there's the
God.
Mothman. All
Well,
right.
you know what? If you ever watch that show, Evil, I mean, that scares the shit out of me. I'm sorry.
That
I-
show is not
I'm-
scary at all.
Oh yes, it is.
Oh my
Season
God.
2 is. Do you watch in season 2?
I watched
Oh
it a while
my
ago.
God.
Yeah.
I think because they're not. It's a streaming site now. It's not like CBS anymore, and they really went over top. They went. I have no idea what they're doing now.
Oh, so they unedited the show.
Well, it's like more like rated R.
Okay.
It's not like on CBS they couldn't get away with that stuff, and there's a lot of creepy shows.
Here's one for you, Jenny. So you're all about the Mothman, his movie or whatever. But do you think that maybe the Mothman is a hybrid of an alien and a bat?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. There you
Yeah.
go.
Don't make fun of
Ooh.
aliens, okay?
I'm
sorry.
just asking if you think the Mothman could be a hybrid, an alien and a bat doing their thing.
No,
and then now the Mothman's here flying around coming to get you.
No, I believe that there are. I believe there was. You know how I feel about Roswell. I mean, I believe that they are little creatures that they had there. I totally believe that, and I think they're still alive. I don't know. They're the kind of aliens that don't age. Maybe I don't know.
So it's
But I
funny.
think
Carlsbad Caverns is close. Well, gosh, I want to say it's probably 100 miles from Roswell, but the caves, and they have the flight of the bats at sunset at night. I mean, it's amazing.
That'd be something to
There's
see.
thousands of bats.
bats. That's getting back to vampires.
Mhm.
No, I think I'm not gonna. I don't want to give anybody spoilers, so I can't talk about Midnight Mass.
Just drop the bomb.
No. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's watching it because it's a really good story, but it gets
Here's a question to you,
bats and
Trish.
vampires.
Here's a question to Trish. Trish, do you believe there are vampires out there?
I believe that. Well, I have two theories behind that. One is especially, I'm a redhead, and so obviously the sun burns my.
You better stay inside.
Right. So back to interpretation, maybe back in beginning of time when people started, for the ones that that couldn't go out in the sun and that were anemic and lacked iron and stuff, maybe that's how that could, like, actual people. We don't have fangs or like suck blood or whatever, but maybe that's where these figured, I guess, imaginary or maybe realistic, I don't know, there's probably people that drink blood out there, but and then there's certain people that are more sensitive to the energy of the moon, werewolves. Like, it's not like a group of people that literally turn into a wolf or whatever, it's just their behavior changes and they're more aggressive and such around a full moon. So that's one theory. The other theory is, yes, that there are aliens that use humans as resources and do take certain people's blood and do come through, that back in the day that could have been interpreted as coming through people's window and stealing their blood. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Mhm.
Yeah, you're right about that. There is such a thing. There is a disease that is called XP, xeroderma pigmentism, that actually does that people go out and suddenly burn. And you're right, that probably could happen.
Right.
And
Did anybody see the documentary that was on a while ago about the group of people that thinks they're actually vampires?
No.
And
No.
they actually practice like drinking each other's blood like vampires do, and it was
you
really
can get sick and die from drinking blood.
Yeah, but they've actually been doing it so long that they've become like
Got
kind of
immune to
dependent
it.
on it. So if
Mhm.
they don't, they got sick. It was an interesting documentary. I forget. I don't know if it was on Netflix or one of those other shows. That was a while ago. I saw that. We're talking
Yeah,
about
that's
this. Think
Well,
about it.
I'd rather actually drink carnation breakfast. Essential Light Start. And I want to thank
Well played.
Carnation for sponsoring this episode. Yeah, it's 150 calories. I think this would probably be better than drinking blood. I mean, if you're in lack of
Mhm.
some essential vitamins, it has a lot of vitamins. So I want to shout out to Carnation thank you for sponsoring
Yeah,
this
thank you,
the second
Carnation.
episode
Yes,
of
thank you, Carnation.
the second hour of our show.
So
Anyways,
what about Nova, the New Orleans Vampire Association?
well, yeah, these people actually believe that they are vampires. Now they
Yeah, they have a
seriously
hierarchy, and you got to be invited and everything.
Yeah, they. Do you ever watch what we do in the shadows?
What do you do in the shadows,
No,
Jenny?
that's no.
It's a silly sitcom on FX about there's a couple, there's a female and a man. They're a couple husband and wife vampire, and then there's their familiar who's now their bodyguard, and then we have the big honcho count. It's hysterical, and it's only like a half an hour, I believe. But it's worth it. So if you have cable, you can watch it on demand. Not that I'm getting they're not our sponsor, but I love them. They're hysterical. But no, there are vampires and the Novus they have a hierarchy, just like in the show that they have a hierarchy, and there's an organization, sort of like on Twilight. Remember that? I don't know if you guys watched Twilight,
No.
but there was a council of vampires,
Yeah. Well, they do
But
it off
if
of the
you- I mean-
community too.
If you go back, speaking on religion and people drinking blood, well, there's,
Yeah, Catholics drink blood.
So,
This is my body and blood. Whoever
right,
eats
that
and drinks
would
have
mean-
eternal life.
exactly. That would mean
wine.
Christians and Catholics are all vampires.
Yeah,
so.
they're all vampires.
Yeah.
Yeah, go out and get it.
Well, you
I
never.
love zombies, so personally.
Zombies. We can go there.
No, I don't want to talk about zombies.
If you
Bath
think about
salts.
even Vlad the Impaler, Dracula.
Well, yeah, Dracula was he was an
of
evil
people like
son of a
that.
bitch.
Right. They actually drank people's. So there's a
Took
lot
baths
of.
in it, his
Even
wife
if
and
you
them.
go, back to mythology and the gods and stuff, and there's a lot of beliefs that where they drink blood of their enemies or animals or whatever to gain their power.
Yep.
So, and then you can go the other route where there could be energy vampires as well.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
I know a couple
Oh.
of those.
But what you just said there, Trish, is like the Native Americans, the Lakota Sioux, when they would go out and hunt
Yeah.
buffalo,
Mhm.
they would kill one and automatically take their heart out, and they'd still
Right.
eat the heart because
Yeah.
they wanted to be
Because that
part
is,
of the buffalo.
yeah,
And the women, the women, they would drink. This is true. They would take baths in the blood of a virgin. That would make
That was
her
a queen.
beautiful.
What was her name?
That would make her beautiful. I forget her. That was not Cleopatra. I know that. I know.
No, it was some queen in England where she got all the young, single, beautiful women in
And took
her
baths
town or wherever,
Her blood.
and they killed her, and she soaked in it.
Yeah, because it would make you beautiful and young, forever young.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What movie was that from? I've seen it.
I don't know. but
Oh,
it
I
was
saw that
creepy
on
as
the
hell.
History Channel, buddy. I saw that on History Channel.
Well, blood is supposed to be, it's rejuvenating, they think. That's why you want to take B vitamin and have your iron, because when you're low, like Trish was saying, when you're low, you're anemic, you're tired. So
Mhm.
blood is very important.
Yeah, you'll look like a ghost. You'll be all like super pale.
Yeah, I'm anemic. I have to take iron because I look like a vampire. I don't like the sunlight either, because no, I have a disease that I don't like the sunlight. I have Sjogren's and I can't go out in the sun. I have to wear sunglasses and bright
Oh
light.
wow.
Oh, it's horrible. So, but I mean, I love the sun, but I have to protect myself. So that could be something like
Mhm.
they could have, and they don't have
That's
I don't
awesome.
have tears. I don't cry. And they think, wow, you don't cry. That means you're evil. I don't have tears. I can't shed. It's really bad when you can't cry. Do you ever try wanting to cry? You don't have tears to cry. It's
No.
horrible. I'm
I
heartless.
never did.
That was Snow White, the newer one, where she couldn't cry and she bathed in.
Wish
Then
I
she
bathed in-
bathed in blood. Yeah.
Well, maybe that's my problem. Maybe I got to go kill me some
Oh.
sheep.
Oh, don't go there.
Hey,
Don't go there. I don't have enough money to bail you out of jail, buddy.
well, if
Hey,
you guys
what
have any
happens in the
invested,
Cassia residence happens in the Cassia.
you don't know what happens over here. It's kind of
Uh,
scary.
I don't know if I want
But
to know.
blood rituals has
I
been.
heard something about
even-
sheep and blood. Yeah.
Well, yeah, even in Christianity, like you said, putting the blood around the door.
Yeah.
That actually stems from a pagan belief, and even in other areas of the world, it's done to. So doorways are considered the threshold between like an entry and an exit, or a threshold to something.
Mhm.
So a lot of different cultures and beliefs, they would put the blood at certain times of the year, certain days, things like that around the frame. So evil entities can't pass through that, to block that. Or demonic in some
Yeah.
people believe that, things like that. So blood's been, and then like we're talking about with communion and things like that, blood has been used
Sacrifices forever, since that's what Steve
voodoo,
Gray said. There's
black
blood
magic,
sacrifice.
Yep.
Blood
All of
sacrifices
those,
all
so.
through the Bible too. I mean, the Christianity is based off the pagan religion. I mean, it's good.
a lot of it.
Yeah,
A lot of it is.
a lot of it is, and there's hey, to each his own, right? If you want
Right,
to
exactly.
to each his
But,
own.
in the long run, when it comes down for me, is I will respect what everybody believes in. If it makes you good and it makes you happy,
Mm-hmm.
go for it. All I ask you is that you believe what I believe,
Well, one day when we all die, we'll find out what really happened.
When John's in hell. I'll say, John, come on in. You go, oh, sorry, you can't come in. Remember back in 2021 on Chasing Prophecy?
Oh, I'm going to hell. Here's
Hey, you
my
look like you're
theory.
starting to
No, you're
sweat
not.
already.
I am. It's hotter than hell, dude.
Why are you always so hot, Sean? Is that because you get upset?
My
You don't like when
mom
you're talking?
keeps telling me I'm having menopause.
I don't. Do
Well,
they
you know
have
her,
that?
so
Yeah, there is. Yeah, men do get it.
you're a prime
Where
example.
they get the heat.
You need
Like the women get menopause.
You need tea.
Right here,
need tea.
Lipton.
Jason, hook him up with some tea.
Go outside,
Testosterone.
get in your car, go to the store, and get yourself some tea.
Yeah.
I got it right
I don't
here.
mean that kind of tea. I'm talking about testosterone.
Oh,
You have
get in your
some-
car, go to your
Alex
doctor's
Jones has
office,
some
and
on
get some tea.
Infowars.com, and I'm not getting. He's not my sponsor either, but Infowars, they have some good stuff on there. You can get some.
So, what's everybody going to be doing for Halloween this year? Are you getting ready to
I'm going to
decorate?
kidnap little children. Hansel and Gretel. Halloween?
I mean, I'm a redhead. I'll probably go soul stealing, like we do.
Do you have blue eyes?
No, they're
No.
red.
They're red. She's a
Oh,
devil.
man.
She's a
Oh, my
redhead.
God. Oh,
So here's an age old question for the red, the Reds. It's always been said, told that gingers don't have souls. What do you feel about
Oh my
that?
God, whoever said that?
No,
I think
I heard
on the
that.
planet.
I heard that.
Gingers don't have
Okay,
souls.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing, because I've had this, thought and discussion many times with people, and a lot of gingers, that's actually, kind of derogatory. Most people don't know the origination of that either. But as far as redheads go, and going back to the RH factor and things like that, and redheads are one of the few, right. Well, that's what I was going to say. Most of us
She's an
date
alien.
back to the original cavemen that have been found, and that's why we're the 1%.
Look, see, she stopped there for a second. See, she is an alien.
Yeah.
That's why she's on the show. I know.
But
she's
that's
an
what I was
alien.
going to say. So if that were the case, and we are aliens, but I think everybody here is an alien. So I mean,
I'm
whatever.
an alien.
But if we were the first ones here, then and with the theory of souls as it is now, how people believe in souls entering bodies, and when people are born and things like that, maybe redheads don't have,
You don't have a soul.
maybe our ancestors didn't, for that matter.
I was just curious because I've heard that saying like my entire life. People
Redheads
always say
don't
stuff
have
like
souls.
that. It's like, being with all of your knowledge and everything, I was curious to see what your input would be on that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good question, Jason. So you Irish, Trish?
I am.
Or are
That's
you
why she's a
100%?
redhead.
Oh, that's good.
She's a little
That's good.
leprechaun. What do you feel
And
about
it's
leprechauns?
funny because, redheads are, well, going back to it that I just watched, Pennywise,
Oh,
it's a
God.
redhead with blue eyes, There's,
Mhm.
That guy, that little creature, dude.
so
Oh,
witches are always portrayed as redheads, all of the, like, vampires.
No, I thought they were mostly dark hair with, like
yeah, that's what I thought.
that. What's that girl? What is it? Oh,
What?
Well, she's tired. She's
no, I'm
tired.
not. I'm trying to think of the
She's
name.
tapping
She's
out.
no, I'm not tapping out. OAC,
Hocus
is that her name?
Pocus?
Ocasio-Cortez. She's a little witch. She's like,
Oh.
Oh, jeez.
sorry.
Oh wow. But no, that's interesting because do you this might be personal. You don't have to say nothing or tell me to shut up. But do you practice the
Shut up,
Wiccan religion?
I do not.
She does know what
no.
she's
And a lot of people don't realize that Wicca is a religion.
Right.
I follow more of the pagan beliefs.
Okay.
And that's more of,
Well, can you tell us what, like, for people who are listening, what's the difference between a pagan and a Wiccan?
So paganism is kind of an umbrella term for.
Do you wear a black cape at night? I mean, are you that kind of pagan? That you actually worship on Halloween? You go to a black mass.
Well, Halloween, Samhain.
Is that a big holiday for you, a pagan?
It is, because it's the marking of begins the dark half of the year, obviously. So, but most pagans are very peaceful and really just believe in the.
Okay, you're more like, I'm a pagan, but I'm not. I don't worship. I don't do like. I'm looking it up. They're more like, they believe nature is sacred.
Absolutely.
They're into nature.
Right.
So
As
I'm
above,
like
so
at.
below. And anything you put out into the universe comes back to you.
Okay.
Like that. But yes, as far as the holidays, which they mostly follow the same ones as Christianity, because Christians, took those
Okay,
from-
so Wiccans have rituals. I don't see anything about paganism
Wiccans
having
is
rituals.
more. So I don't want to say New Age, because that's not correct, because it's been around for a long time. Has not been around as long as paganism, but it is a specific religion, kind of like Christianity is to the. It's less broad than paganism, but they have different beliefs that
No, why don't they have like a Christian pagan? Because I believe in the same what you said. I believe what goes in comes out. What you put in, you bring back. I believe in nature, trees. I believe in grounding. I believe in all that stuff. And why don't they have like why do you have to be a non-Christian to be a pagan?
Good question.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't think I don't think that's necessarily true. You can be whatever you want, I mean,
Yeah, I'm just wondering because I have the same beliefs of that. So
right.
I'm a what's that? Oh, I used to
And
think
many
I was a
pagans
Trojan.
believe
Is it
that-
Trojan? Is that what they're called? When they worship trees. I used to love to hug my tree. There's a name for it. Don't
Tree
be-
hugger.
Tree hugger.
Trojan. Oh, come on. Trish, you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I can't think of the word.
I know,
I
I
have
can't.
no idea.
An arbanist.
No.
No, that's somebody that cuts them down. An arborist.
I had a
I thought
nervous
they grew.
breakdown when they had to cut down my tree.
So I believe, since I have attended so many different, studied so many different religions and attended so many different churches and things like that, what is it called? When you believe that all peaceful religions have some substance to them. It's something, omni.
I don't know. Well, don't be laughing at us, Augie. I know where you are.
Oh, you know what, Augie? You're dumb, dude. You're going in the cellar.
What I want to say,
with
like
Jason.
you, I've had. I mean, I was non-denominational. It's Christian.
But isn't
church.
it Christianity and paganism? They don't go hand in hand because the pagans worship more nature, and Christians believe that you can't have an idol, even nature, over God.
Well,
paganism. There's like Mother Earth, Gaia, and a father figure as far as like God. So, and that's the duality of things. And so,
so you can't say
was because everything has a duality on our Earth. Everything, you have the northern and southern hemispheres. You have the sky and the earth. You have just even going back to the angels versus demons thing, that's a duality. That's people's, two personas for that matter, good versus bad, evil versus, and so that's part of the whole as above, so below, where you have Mother Earth, Gaia, and God. So,
and Wiccans' motto is "Do no harm."
What I found out through a friend of mine who studied mythology. Do you know how the devil got the horns in the picture?
How?
Well, the Christians back when they were dealing with the pagans over there, you heard of Pan, right? Half man, half animal, right? Well, the Christians drew horns on Pan, and they said this is the devil, and that's how the devil got his picture with horns on. Don't get quiet, everybody. Start talking. I mean,
I don't know, seriously. But I think you should work on getting your headset fixed because you're you're static.
Your microphone's been like sounding just interference all night.
Yeah, we figured out it was you because we took you off and then put you back on a couple times.
How could my mic be so bad?
It happens. It's gremlins. Sometimes mine does that.
Sometimes you just have to reconnect it.
Sometimes that, or like if the grounding's bad, the plug, like the outlet you're plugged into, it's just so much stuff.
You
like my microphone will do it once in a while. Yeah.
I sleep with a grounding mat. Don't make fun of me.
My phone is possessed. That's the way I look at it.
No, your phone isn't possessed.
Well, then don't look at it.
Any investigations coming up, guys?
The 16th of October.
What's that?
It's just a client's house. I went over there back. No. That's a crazy place. It is haunted. When I went over through the walkthrough back in July, we were in their dining room area, and they had the one light on in the living room on, and it just automatically shut off. But the lady don't want them gone. She just wants to know. No. She just wants to know who they are. What happened was her nephew was on a ladder, and the ladder was pushed while he was on the ladder. Yeah. And so
Why
we're
doesn't
going
she
over
want
and-
them gone? I mean, if someone tried to hurt my
She-
family.
Well, I don't know. We'll discuss that on the 16th and down to 22nd.
Well, how many
and
steps are on the
23rd.
ladder, though? You know, that could be something that could be debunked and not be something to do with
Oh,
the
yeah,
spirit.
absolutely. But when that light went off in that living
Well,
room.
that's a different story.
Yeah, so that
But-
makes it a good, legit one.
Yeah.
But the 22nd and 23rd, we're
That'll
going to
be
be
fun.
down in Uniontown. At Uniontown is having their ghost walk.
Oh, that'll be
And,
fun.
Yeah, so
It
if
is.
anybody's looking
It's
to have
great.
like a quick 15-minute ghost hunt, you know, we'll be taking groups through one of the
Yeah.
restaurants down there.
DeMarco's.
Yeah.
DeMarco's Beach Roast.
Excellent
And,
food. Excellent.
Yes, excellent.
That's
And then
gonna
on
be
the
fun.
23rd, though, before I go down there, I'm doing a speaking engagement down on
Oh,
the
you
south side.
are. Where is this at?
Oh,
Down on the south side. It's I don't
Down
know
there.
the name of the place. They just moved out there.
Wow, you're really
It's-
getting up there, Sean. Couple.
pants and
Oh,
that.
this happens every year. Every year. I just get busy.
All
with
those
everything.
demons want you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Every October,
God.
it's spooky season because everybody gets all into the
Yeah.
paranormal.
Yeah, I
and
wish we
like,
had one
oh,
up here to
everything's
do.
haunted.
Oh, we don't have anything.
Well,
What?
it is true. I mean, I'm sure there's more sightings and like proof during this time of year. So it makes
Well,
sense.
yeah, because
Not
of the
just because of Halloween, but because of the time of the year.
But Trish, it's funny because me and Jason, we ghost hunt, right? And we go out there. And even though they do say that the veil is really, really thin around October, I mean, why could it not be really thin all year round? Because there's a lot of
because it goes back
paranormal
to
activity.
Christianity, Sean.
No,
Also,
I'm
Well,
being
look
honest
what-
with you. I don't
Look what happened
understand
at
that.
Blair House in February.
well, that's
Yeah.
because you guys were there and they wanted to agitate you.
Trish.
That was
What
fun.
do you
I
think
was
of that,
looking
Trish?
at our old videos. I liked watching you guys. That was fun.
Well, what do you think, Trish? That the veil could be white or thinned out all year round?
I think, yeah, I've thought about this numerous times because I've noticed patterns in different times of year. You know, not just this time of year. There's other times of year with the different seasons, and I think that might deal with location as well. You know, everything is on maybe what parallel you're on, or as far as that goes, because that has a lot to do. You know, if you study any of the statistics, obviously, as investigators, you all know that certain locations, regardless of what time of year it is, have more occurrences of accidents or ghost sightings or
Right.
whatever throughout history. So I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you for that. But I'm all excited. I like how
There's also things like where I live is very there's a lot in my specific area. There's a lot of occurrences, but we're also near water. We're near tons of train tracks active. They go through here all the time, and power grids, and all of those things have a lot of energy. So that would make
Right.
the occurrence here pretty much year round, opposed to somewhere out in the middle of nowhere that doesn't have those things.
That's
Cool.
good.
That's cool. For the final moments of our show, I just want to reach out to Jason and tell him that I think he's an amazing musician. I listened to
Oh.
some of his work.
Oh, geez.
And-
If it wasn't night vision over here, you'd see me blush.
I was just listening to your wow. I just think you should be out performing. If you guys have a chance, look up his you're gonna have to put a link on in the can you put stuff in the chat?
No,
I'll have to
it
get-
doesn't.
He has a tell us about your little business that you have.
Oh, It's on Reverb Nation Studio RTA37, where I post stuff I write or songs the bands I was in we recorded and wrote, and just trying to share stuff, get music out there. It's nothing crazy, just doing what we express and do the best of our ability.
Can you
No,
give
I
us a
wouldn't say we're the-
sample on your? Do you have any recordings that you could put up to the mic of what you've
Oh,
done?
no. I'm sitting in the dark over my laptop.
You don't have anything on your
Not
phone?
on this. Not on this one. No, that's on my other
Damn.
computer. Yeah, I got a main studio computer with all the music.
He
that's
has
on it.
some good tunes.
Thank
he
you.
does.
Appreciate
His
it.
music is on our intro too. He's really. I was impressed because well, years ago. Oh God, we're talking back in the 80s. That's how I'm dating myself. I used to do a Pat Benatar.
Really?
Well, let's get together and jam.
I used to sing Pat. What was the other one? Oh God, there's Pat Benatar.
Heartbreaker?
No, she's a country song. Country. There was Fleetwood Mac, Stevie Nicks, and what was the other woman? Ron Stout. Is it Linda? Linda Ronstadt. Yeah, we're talking back in the old days. What's this? What is this? He just sent me a link. Somebody sent me a link.
Augie shared it.
No, I can't.
Yeah.
Well, wonder if I can.
It's nothing crazy. Just some stuff I like to do.
Darn, I wish I could pull it up.
Yeah.
Darn, it's really good. I wanted you guys to
Who's
hear.
our guest next week, Jen?
I'm trying to find out who she is.
You got half of
don't
it.
worry.
We know it's a she.
It's a woman, I do believe. I don't know her. Oh gosh, I probably would know if I don't have my calendar here, but I'll let you know ahead. We're gonna do something for a Halloween. Trying to see what the date is. There's also going to be a Halloween party on the 31st.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
We're going to join in, and for our show is going to be our Halloween show is the 26th. We're going to get some psychics. We're going to dress up. Sorry guys, you guys dress up. I can't be the only one that's going to dress up.
I can be Jason.
You can wear.
You know what? I'm going to dress up as a psychic. This is it, Reagan.
Pat, you don't need to dress up. You can take the mask off anytime now.
Do you know what time?
You're just jealous, Jason. That's all.
Oh, you know it. You know it.
You're jealous.
Damn straight, brother.
When I grow up, I want to be just like you.
I hope so. You got the whole world, buddy. You couldn't handle this.
What's on your shirt? Is that like an Hawaiian shirt or something?
Yeah, the pineapples.
Pineapples.
Yeah. There's
You got
pineapple.
the Pineapple
So
Express over here.
what's on your show tonight? Into the Dark, Shallon.
You know what? I'm going to ask Joe if he can come on and talk about UFOs. Yes.
No, but that'll be fun. You know,
My
Joe
show-
is probably an ET himself.
One day I would like
Fun,
Trish.
huh?
One day I'd like to get you on my show after this show, and talk about more on what you study. You know, and I would like my listeners, who are these listeners, learn more about what you study, what you believe, and how to get it. We'll be on for about 48, 49 minutes, but that's about it. But I'd like to have you on the show one day.
Not 58 or 47.
No,
Not 55.
no.
See, we don't have to hurry to get off because Sean's off.
Yeah.
My person.
We're going to eat up your minutes, Sean.
Please do. Please do. Please do.
We should just have.
But are
Sean.
you okay with that, Trish? You okay with that?
Yeah, definitely. I should actually sometime video me going down one of these rabbit holes sometime, because I go to different locations,
You should.
and then that'll lead to something else, and that'll lead to something else, and it's mind blowing to people, especially friends and people around me, because they're like, "How did all of this lead to that from
There you go.
something you
Right.
saw?" And then it ends up bringing together a bunch of history as well as solid facts almost about different locations and things that have happened, and even murders, things that I had no prior no knowledge of.
Mhm.
And it's really interesting how I don't know very many psychics who work the same way as I do. I mean, maybe there's someone out
Do
there.
you work with the police?
Not locally. A lot when that first started happening to me, there were spirits that were contacting me from other locations, halfway across the world, or in another state, or I would have a dream about it in another state and things like that. So I would contact the person. It would be somebody that was in a group completely unrelated on Facebook or something. And I would see a picture that would trigger something. A lot of psychics can read pictures and things like that. And then I would ask them a question about that. And that would lead to a spirit that's been bothering them. And then that would lead to a murder case. And so they would have to coordinate the actions from where they were at. But that spirit was contacting me through them.
We're going to have to talk about that next.
Yeah.
So we're going to say
Now,
goodbye.
when I'm on location, it's even more, I get the messages I get are so much clearer, obviously, because I can read the energy of that location and what's happened in that specific area, opposed to having to kind of put together the puzzle pieces, asking somebody, halfway across the United States, and them saying, well, this is, it's funny you should mention that because this happened in my house or on my property or whatever. So
we'll have to bring that. We'll have to talk about that next.
Yeah.
But I want to say goodbye to everybody. We're going to play our intro again for
Good
the
night,
exit.
everybody.
I think it's pretty cool
Good
because
night,
you get to
everybody.
see Jason.
Long hair.
long hair.
Here we go.